Hi everybody, it's your digital technology librarian, Christy, and we are already at a weekend, if you can believe it. So it's of course time for yet another Film Rec Friday. This week we are going to focus in on films that cover real people throughout history, but we are going to focus in on films that are biopics or fictionalized versions of their lives rather than straightforward documentaries. Now, biopics can vary, of course, in their dedication to the truth. Most of the ones that I've picked are pretty close, though, of course, since they're not documentaries, we'll never really know. But I hope that people enjoy these recommendations. There are a ton of really fantastic biopics out there. As always, all of these recommendations are available on our 3 video services, which are CleveNet's Overdrive, Hoopla Digital, and Canopy. So if you have a Milan-Berlin Library card, you can access all of these titles and so many more totally for free. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get to those recommendations. Let's go ahead and get started with a couple of recs from, as usual, CleveNet's Overdrive. Now, the first of these recs is a film called The World's Fastest Indian, and it is based on the life of New Zealander Burt Munro, who was a famous motorcycle racer. Now, this movie is a 1960s period piece, so you get this really cool, hip vibe. And that's sort of juxtaposed with the main character, who is larger than life and gregarious and outgoing, but is definitely not what I would call hip or cool. And it follows his dream of traveling from New Zealand to the United States so that he can race and set a record at the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah. Now, prior to this movie, I knew absolutely nothing about motorcycle racing. So I didn't have any clue as to how big a deal the Bonneville Salt Flats would be. But let me just say, for those who are like me and had no clue either, they're a huge deal. Anyway, so this film traces this journey from something small townish to such a large spectacle. And it's absolutely engrossing, mainly because Anthony Hopkins, who portrays Burt Munro in the film, does an amazing job of embodying this larger than life character. Um, and he's not just like a nice, funny, charming guy at all. Like, he has some serious quirks that would, one, make him the absolute worst neighbor in the world, let me just say, but also who, he's very much multifaceted. So, you're following along with this journey, and it really is so much about this journey. It's never about the destination. And I know we hear that sort of trite statement all the time, but every misadventure, and they are misadventures, that Burt has as he leaves New Zealand, as he lands in the US, as he makes his way very slowly to Utah with his motorcycle, which he built and developed and improved, we see like the difficulties that he has getting from place to place when it's not just him, but this rather large thing that he has to trek along with. So anyway, this movie is really, really fun to watch, and it's a great adventure. It's an adventure that's not got fantasy elements or anything. It's very believable, and it's really, really enjoyable. So, you will 100% be cheering Monroe on the entire time. So, if you like sort of these journeyman films, I strongly recommend checking out The World's Fastest Indian with Anthony Hopkins. You won't regret it. It's great. So the second film that I have to recommend for everybody is a movie that I absolutely fell in love with when it first came out. But it was quite a small film. It just was getting critically lauded. It's Philomena. Now, Philomena is this quietly emotional, deeply moving, and surprisingly funny film about a woman named Philomena Lee, who was forced to give up her child as an unwed teen mother in 1950s Ireland, and it's the culmination of this 50-year effort to find and meet with her son that she was forced to give up, and she manages to go on a real potentially successful quest with the help of a journalist named Martin Sixsmith. And Philomena, the film, sort of follows their collaboration in this attempt. Now, there are a ton of emotional ups and downs in this movie, um, but throughout it all, it's got this soft, heartwarming humor to it, which I was not at all expecting. One, as a fan of the main actress, who I never think of as being a comedian at all, but also just the topic itself, I wasn't expecting to giggle as much as I did. Um, and the movie itself is as much about the relationship and friendship that develops between Sixsmith, who is the journalist, and Philomena, as it is about her actually finding her son. She comes into Sixsmith's life at a time when he really needs someone like her, and a quest like this to follow and to cheer on. I mean, it's something that is just as vital to him. Their relationship is just as vital to him. And uh in many ways, this buddy movie uh, and adventure is as much Martin's story as Philomena's, though without taking away from the importance of Philomena's attempt to find her son. And the chemistry between the two actors who play these characters, Judi Dench, of course, and Steve Coogan, who I know primarily as a comedian, is so shockingly on point. Like, I would never put these two together in a movie if I were just thinking of two British actors. I would never think, oh, that's a great combination. But they're wonderful. And oddly enough, Judi Dench definitely plays a bit of the clown, but not in an obnoxious way, just in a charming way, uh, to, to, to Coogan's straight man. And, she has this charming dottiness about her, and it's never a caricature of a person. She's more like that odd lovable aunt that you never had but wish you did. She's just marvelous. And Coogan, he has this dry, droll way of saying things, uh and the dialogue is perfect for that, and he just plays off of her sort of sweet strangeness so well. Um, but yeah, I can't recommend this one enough. It's just a lovely, sweet, soft film that uh, will definitely move you when you see it. So, Philomena, strongly recommended. Please do check it out. So my second recommendations both come from Hoopla Digital, and the first of those is a film called Frida. Now, in general, I love films that utilize unique processes and techniques, and Frida absolutely falls under that umbrella category. It's a biopic that follows the life, loves, and work of Mexican artist Frida Kahlo, and it's directed by Julie Taymor, and boy, does it show that this is a Taymor film. I'm a huge fan of Taymor's work, and she has just got this amazing list of projects that she's been a part of. She was in charge of the stage adaptation of The Lion King that utilized those giant puppets to build the bodies of all the animals. She did the adaptation of Titus Andronicus. She did the Across the Universe film that created the story through Beatles songs that was absolutely gorgeous to watch. Uh, Frida is no exception to the incredible nature of her works. It's this blend of shifting color palettes. I mean, she'll go from this flat, stark sepia tone to these vivid ambers and reds that just sort of writhe off the screen. They're so kinetic, and that color and that striking difference really, really breathes life into so many moments of this movie. And interspersed between live action scenes, you'll get these moments of like paper marionette puppetry, and it's there to illustrate the inner workings of Kahlo's mind. And goodness, does it ever give the film this sort of off-kilter sense, which is perfect for portraying moments of thought, especially when we're talking about this woman who's very clearly such an artist. It's just a visually arresting film, and I can't say enough good things about it. Um, the project itself was a labor of love for actress Salma Hayek, who plays the title character, Frida, and her performance brings such a vivaciousness. There's so much energy, and it's so vividly alive. Every moment, she doesn't shy away from the more complex or complicated moments in Kahlo's life at all. She really breathes life into those, and it's when you see like the quietness of sections of this film that you can tell how great an actress she actually is. So I really did love every aspect of this movie. Whether you are already a fan of Frida Kahlo's work, whether you're a fan of Selma Hayek, of Julie Taymor, or if you just want to see a stunning, arresting movie, I absolutely recommend Frida. It's phenomenal. Please do check it out. It is available on Hoopla Digital. Now, my other Hoopla recommendation is a movie called Ip Man, and it's an action and drama filled biopic about the Wing Chun martial artist who actually taught Bruce Lee to be Bruce Lee. And, I am so all about martial arts films to begin with. When I found out there was this one that was actually about someone who was real and had such a pivotal part of the martial arts film industry's history, I absolutely had to watch it. And it was absolutely everything that I had hoped it would be, from both a martial arts film, because it is at its heart an action martial arts movie, and a biopic about this real life person. Now, besides just being an awesome movie in general, storyline wise, it has some incredible fight scenes, and those are choreographed by a martial arts actor, or a gentleman who used to be a major actor in films, named Sammo Hung. And the fights are so cool because it utilizes this Wing Chun style, which is not necessarily something that's all the time portrayed in arts films. That style isn't necessarily utilized that much. And when it's filmed, it actually looks almost like dance, kind of like you're watching a ballet. And seeing that happen on screen was really, really incredible. So you've got this amazing fight choreography, and it's implemented by the lead actor, who's Donnie Yen, who's, again, a very, very successful, very famous, and awesome martial arts film actor. And every single scene of fighting really tells a story. Like I said, it's definitely got this sort of ballet vibe to it. So, watching Donnie Yen play this character very well in his quiet moments, because that's the other part of the character that's so interesting. He's not larger than life at all. He's not boastful. He's rather quiet. He's very centered. Watching him go through these motions at the same time as knowing that personality, those two different things really become compelling very quickly. So yeah, it's one of those, the performance never feels disjointed, it just flows. So if you like martial arts films, if you like action films, if you just like pieces of East Asian history, definitely check out Ip Man. It is really, really awesome. So please do check it out. My final two recommendations, as always, come from our Canopy service. Now, the first movie recommendation is for the movie Chaplain. Now, while he's most famous for his portrayal of Tony Stark in Iron Man to most younger audiences, back in 1992, Robert Downey Jr. Was a young and quite then lauded, though troubled, actor who ended up nominated for pretty much every major award and even picked up a BAFTA for the portrayal of Charlie Chaplin in the movie Chaplain. Now, I mentioned Downey before I mentioned anything else because this is Robert Downey Jr.'s movie. I mean, the writing is good, the cinematography is good. There's nothing inherently bad about any of the other aspects of the movie, but it's all about his performance, and it is an incredible performance from Downey Jr. Um, from these very specific mannerisms that Chaplin had, to the very particular British accent, to the portrayal of the tramp character that Chaplin was famous for. He has everything down pat. Like, everything is absolutely perfect. You never see Robert Downey Jr. on screen. It's 100% Charlie Chaplin, and it's really interesting to watch when Downey Jr.'s performance style as these characters, these larger than life characters like Tony Stark or anything like that, and his involvement with the whole Marvel universe. So to see him take on this very serious, very specific kind of character is really fascinating to watch. Um, because the Chaplin character, he is at moments like over the top and huge, but then a lot of times he's not. He played the clown. And it's in those really quiet moments where he's not being Charlie Chaplin that the world knows that are the most effective in this movie. It's really, really fantastic. So if you're a fan of Downey, if you're a fan of Charlie Chaplin, if you're a fan of movie history, because there is a lot of real film history involved in the movie, I would definitely check this one out. Um, it's 100% worth it. There are a ton of different actors that you'll be familiar with who are part of the film, but really, for the most part, this is the title character's film, and it's 100% worth watching. So please do check out Chaplin. And my final film recommendation is for the movie Trumbo. And sort of piggybacking off of what we were just talking about, a large part of this movie being so easy to recommend is Bryan Cranston's performance as the title character of Dalton Trumbo. I grew up watching Cranston playing like buffoons or sort of like other bumbling characters. He was always funny and very clearly an exceptional actor, but I'd never seen him play something so far from what I was used to seeing before this, and it was just a revelation. He's an amazing dramatic actor, and the nuance he puts in this character are just amazing. Um, it's really layered performance, and it's such a fascinating period of history. The Red Scare is. So, you're already riled up from the storyline and the injustice of what he's facing and what so many of his colleagues had to face. And you feel this sort of disappointment in the people and friends who turn their backs on him. And then you rejoice when you discover the people who never turned their backs on him and who were willing to go out on a limb to help the other people who were affected by the Red Scare. Um, it's it's just one of those movies that works well on so many levels, whether you are in it for, bravura performances, or you're in it for a story that's really gripping. There's something to really cheer for. You hope that things turn out well, and whether or not you're super familiar with the actual history or not, you still are totally engrossed in the movie. So please do check out Trumbo. It's fantastic, and I knew some bits about the history of things, but I definitely didn't know a lot of the different intricacies in his particular situation. So it was entertaining, educational, and just a really good watch. So please do check out Trumbo, also available on Canopy. And with that, that is my very last recommendation for this week. If you have recommendations of your own that you'd like to share, if there's something you've seen recently on one of these services that you think other people should definitely check out, please comment, let us know. I am always looking for recommendations. If you are looking for if you have recommendations for topics and themes you'd like me to talk about next in the upcoming weeks, please leave those in the comments below as well. And with that, I hope everybody has a great weekend and watches a few great movies. We'll see you next week.